If you're selling on TikTok Shop or even thinking about it, you're probably wondering things like, what commission rates make my affiliates want to line up for my product? How do you get on TikTok Shop's bestseller list without going viral? And what are the biggest mistakes that new sellers make that kills sales instantly? I run a TikTok Shop agency that has scaled brands to 6 and even 7 figures. And today I'm answering the top 28 questions that I get from sellers every week. So here on screen, you can see some of our client results. And these aren't theories, right? They're the same strategies that we use for our paying clients in today's market. Stick around to the end because missing even one of these answers can cost you a lot of money and waste a bunch of your time. And also, if you do want my team to implement these strategies into your own business, just go ahead, first link in the description, book a call with me so we can talk about it. Perfect, let's get into the video. Awesome, so here we are. I organized all of these into a Google Doc and I also categorize them by beginner questions, growth questions about scaling your shop, strategy questions, and then also complex strategy questions. So if you are more beginner or you're more advanced, go ahead and skip in the bottom timestamps so you don't waste your time. Awesome, jumping in. So first off, first question, do you need a TikTok account to sell on TikTok Shop? So quick answer, no, you do not need a TikTok account. You just need to set up a TikTok seller center. Number two, can you sell on TikTok Shop without showing your face? Yes, absolutely, 100%. You can do either faceless content, or you can go ahead and get affiliates to do their own content. So you do not need to have a personal brand. You do not need to have followers on TikTok to sell. So yeah, you don't need to have a previous audience. 3, how long does it take to get approved as a TikTok Shop Seller Center? So once you submit your information to become a TikTok seller in the Seller Center, it probably takes 1 to 3 days. Now, also, if you're like, let's say a supplement brand and you need additional verification about like your FDA, good manufacturing practice, all these documents that you need if you are a supplement company, it might take maybe 3 extra days. Can you sell internationally or is it country specific? So yeah, you can sell internationally, but you do have to register for every country that you do want to sell in. 5, do you need a business license to sell on TikTok Shop? So I'm not sure for other countries, but in the US, you can register as an individual if you don't have a business. Now, if you do have a business, of course, like corporation, LLC, whatever the case is, you submit those. But you can also go ahead and submit as an individual. So technically, you just need a product and a bank account. But of course, in order to succeed, you should have an affiliate system. You should have a content system and a bunch of other systems in place just to help you. First off, get more affiliates, rank up and dial up sales, fulfillment, all these things. Can you sell, so number 7, can you sell digital products on TikTok Shop? So no, you cannot. Strictly on TikTok Shop, you can only sell physical products. Number 8, how do TikTok Shop payments work and how often do you get paid? So usually payments are released 7 to 14 days after the order is placed. You can also go ahead and like change this in the seller center if you please. Now they give you more leeway the more sales you have and the more experience you have selling on TikTok Shop. Number 9, can you use a dropshipping model on TikTok Shop? Yes, you can, but if you're using the normal and traditional way of doing it from dropshipping from China, it's not going to work because you do need to have quick shipping times. If you don't, you're going to get suspended very fast. And of course, your seller ranking system is going to drop and that leads to suspension. Number 10, do you need to run ads to get sales on TikTok Shop? So no, you do not. You can go organic, and actually that's how I start most of my brands off. Just put out content organically, see if it gets sales, and then once those videos start getting sales, I do go ahead and push them with ad spend. It does expedite the process and make it a lot faster, so I do recommend it, but only once you start getting sales organically. And you can also go ahead and entirely choose not to do it and push ad spend on your videos. Now, growth questions, scaling your shop. So how do you get affiliates to promote your products? So there is 2 ways to do this. So first off, there's an open collab. Basically, as a seller, you can go ahead and take your product and post it as a listing where all affiliates they see the product and then they go ahead and see the commission rate so they can decide if they want to work with you. If they do decide to work with you, then you can see it on your end and you can choose to accept or deny them. Now for target collaborations, this is where you as a seller, you go ahead and choose the affiliates that you want to work with. So you go ahead and send them an invite. You try to persuade them to actually come and work with your brand. If they say yes, you can go ahead and accept or deny them as well. Number 12, what is the best way to stand out on the TikTok Shop marketplace? So this is important and there's 2 sides to this. So you can stand out to consumers. Obviously, this is where you get your sales. And then you can stand out to affiliates. So first off, for consumers, on the TikTok Shop marketplace, meaning that the product listing is not followed by a piece of content. So number 12, what is the best way to stand out in the TikTok Shop marketplace? So there is two ways you can answer this question. First off is from the consumer's perspective, and then second is from the affiliate's perspective, right? So obviously you want to attract customers, right? This is where you get your sales in, and you do want to find affiliates to promote your product and to get sales. So first way, how to separate yourself in the consumer's eyes is on the TikTok Shop Marketplace. So this is meaning that your product is not under a video, but is in the shopping tab, which you do get a lot of sales from. The first way to do it is to optimize your product listing. And basically the only way to do it is to optimize your listing. So you do want to go ahead for your photos. You want them to be very clear. Clear meaning that you want your consumer to be able to tell exactly what you're selling within 2 seconds of hitting the product page. You do want them to be high quality, and you do want to have some lifestyle images. Also, you do want to include features and benefits in the actual photo. So you want to list like ingredients or ways that this product helps. And last but not least, you want to go ahead and include social proof. So if your product is like popping, let's say on your website, you want to, on the actual product photo, you want to see like, oh, 10,000 units sold, right? This increases credibility, and this is a very important aspect of the TikTok Shop listing. Now is the description and the title. So title is more important than the description. So for the title, you do want to have keywords in it, right? You do want to have a lot of keywords. And of course, you do want to make sure it's clear. So you shouldn't have something that's ambiguous or invokes curiosity. You want to tell the consumer exactly what they're getting, also while including keywords. Description is not super important. There's top brands that don't even have descriptions. But what I like to do personally is to add bullet points, right, of important information that's going to help take the consumer down the buying process. And then also I like to add graphics and videos to the actual description. This helps a little bit. I definitely recommend that you do it because it definitely won't hurt, right? Now for affiliates, so you do need to attract affiliates, and this is a big issue for a lot of smaller brands, is that affiliates, they don't want to work with you because you're a small brand. Affiliates, they want to work with the biggest brands possible because it's a better opportunity for them to make actual money. So you do have to persuade them, and you do have to sell them on the fact to work with your brand. So the way to do this is that, so the best way to do this is to incentivize them. So first off, you want to give high commission rates. So this is basically anything so this is basically anything over 20% commission, right? Usually 20% is like the average. So if you give them more than this, you're going to be excited to work with you. So you want to give them prizes and rewards. I'm going to put a picture on the actual screen. And this is what Goldie is doing in order to incentivize creators with prizes. And keep in mind that Goldie is a huge TikTok Shop brand. So of course you want to emulate them to hopefully see the same results in your brand. Also, another way to attract affiliates is, just having a lot of reviews on your product and having a lot of units sold on your listing. This is important. Affiliates do look at this, of course, because the more that your brand looks like it's new, the less affiliates are going to want to work with you. So any way you can try to mitigate this is going to work in your favor. Number 13, so how many products should you have listed to get traction? So this is going to sound like an oxymoron. A lot of people might think that they need multiple products to get traction, but I always say start with one. And this is because TikTok Shop is very listing heavy. So like similar to Amazon, you want your listing to pop off, right? You want it to take off, and then slowly you want to start adding products to your catalog, right? So once a consumer finds the product, they buy it, they like it, they go ahead and buy the other product. But you do want your initial listing to take off. So this is the listing that or the SKU that you're going to want to send to a bunch of creators to make videos with. And then in turn, they're going to get a lot of sales, right? That's going to be stacking up in this listing. So you're going to have more reviews on this listing. You're going to have more units sold on this listing. In turn, you're just going to have a lot more exposure, a lot more credibility. You're just going to look overall like a more experienced seller and brand. 14, what is a good commission rate to offer to affiliates? So I answered this previously, but anything over 20%, right? Anything from 20 to 40% is good. Obviously, like 25 to 40 is the higher range, 20% is the lower range. But you definitely don't want to be the person that's giving 15%. It's very hard to make it work, especially as a new seller. If you're giving 15%, the only way that you can actually kind of make this work is that, let's say you're a very big brand on TikTok Shop and people are just dying to work with you. You have a little bit more leverage, and then you can give them lower commission, or like, let's say in turn, you can ask for more than one video. So number 15, I answered this kind of already too, but can you reach out directly to influencers to sell your product? So yes, you can do this in the target collaborations. You go ahead and search for creators that you want to send an invite to. the opposite of the open collab. Open collab is where you post a listing, affiliates see it, and they can decide if they want to work with you and reach out to you through your listing. So how do you know if your listing is converting well? So there is a conversion rate metric. Of course, this is where you go ahead and see that, but you always want to keep on A/B testing, especially your photos. They have the biggest impact. So you do want to, A/B test them to see which one's working better, because always one variation is going to work better than the other. Number 17, what is the best way to get on TikTok Shop's bestseller ranking? So this is very important. Bestsellers ranking is something TikTok gives you once you're a good seller. And basically the best way to get it is to become a good seller, right? So you want to fulfill on time, and you just want to make sure that your listing is popping off. You want to be getting a lot of sales, a lot of reviews on one listing, right? You want to consolidate all of your products basically, if you can, into one listing. So that way all of your reviews and all of your sales go through that listing by itself. Number 18, does TikTok Shop reward sellers for hitting certain revenue milestones? So not particularly, you do get like little special badges and stuff, but nothing in particular. But the more that you do sell, the more benefits that they give you. So like they will take care of shipping for you, or they'll give you little special coupons and they eat the cost. So it's very profitable for you. They're always trying to incentivize, top sellers to keep on going. So strategy question. Oh, so this was a question, but I got messed up. So is there a best time to post content on TikTok Shop for sales? Not necessarily. You just want to make sure that you're posting a lot of content. So TikTok Shop is a numbers game. Just make quality content and post it consistently. So there is one strategy that I call algorithm flooding, and this is where you get a lot of affiliates to go live at the same time. So this way, people are just flooded with that type of content, and they become more familiar with their brand because they see the product one time, they're like, oh, okay, I'm taking notice of it. They see it again, it's like it's in their subconscious now, right? So they're more likely to buy. Number 19, what is the biggest mistakes that new sellers make? I would say by far is people being stingy, right? So sellers, they don't want to give their creators 25% of what they're making, or 30%. But you do see that the top brands, they are not stingy, and they're willing to, first off, they're willing to pay their creator retainers for more content. They're willing to, give a higher percentage commission, give more prizes and rewards. And you see that the new sellers, they don't want to do this. They don't want to, give up margin, but it is important, especially to get started. Number 20, I already kind of answered this, but should you focus on one product or multiple products? I say start with one main product, send that to affiliates, get listings on it. This should be your flagship product, right? This is where your attention should be going. And then also, if you do want to like add a higher ticket product or the second product in your line, go ahead and add it, but don't really promote it too much. Once people buy the first product, they like it, they use it, they like it, they go ahead and buy that second product. And this is perfect because if you're not promoting that second product, all of those purchases are going to be, very profitable. You're not going to be having to pay that creator 20 to 30% of commission. So it's all going to be yours. Number 21. So this is for TikTok campaigns. So like, do TikTok Shop campaigns like back to school actually boost sales? So yes, they do. They're more likely to go viral. If you make a video under this campaign, they're more likely to go viral. They get more sales. TikTok just overall, they incentivize people to use these campaigns. So if you do use them, you're going to be, rewarded. Number 22, how do you choose products that are easy to make viral content for? So this is all in the product, and you want it to be, intrinsically viral. You don't want to choose a product that's like paper or like office supplies. There's no unique selling propositions, and there's no marketing angles you can go after. So anything that looks like pretty or nice on camera, anything that solves an insecurity, they usually do extremely, extremely well on TikTok Shop just because there's so many marketing angles that you can go around it. So number 23, what metric matters the most when scaling on TikTok Shop? So starting out, it's going to be the amount of videos that are circulating, right? You want to have as many videos going out, and slowly you want to start tweaking them in order to get more sales and optimize them. But to begin with, you need volume. TikTok Shop is a numbers game. So the more outreach you do, the more affiliates you're going to get, the more affiliates are going to post, the more videos you're going to have out there, and the more likely they are to go viral. So you do just want to have volume over everything. 24, can your TikTok Shop data, can you use TikTok Shop data to improve your content strategy? Yes, for sure, 100%. The best strategies to use for content strategy, in my opinion, which is not related to the question, but this is something that's worthy to go into, is just doing a bunch of research in your niche. So in your niche, you want to go and find the top like 100 videos that are going viral, and you want to make sure you understand what the types of hooks are, the video formats, talking points, the CTAs, everything that makes a video go viral, you want to understand it and you want to go ahead and emulate it within your whole affiliate system. This is really how you go and create a content strategy that is going to allow you to go viral again and again. Most people, they don't have a content strategy, so they might go viral once and they have a spike in sales, but then it, shoots off after that. They can't replicate it. So here we are at the complex strategy questions, my favorite. How do you engineer a viral TikTok Shop product launched from scratch? So this is depending on your budget, but let's say like you have some budget to work with. Obviously, first off, you want the right product. So something that's intrinsically viral, easy to shoot with, easy demonstrability, something that's, solves the insecurity. Second of all, you want to be making content as the founder, and you do also want to go ahead and get a lot of affiliates, right? So you want to get a lot of affiliates. You want to give them a good amount of commission. You do want to have a couple of affiliates on retainer. A retainer meaning that you pay these creators maybe like $300 to $500 per month for a certain amount of videos posted. So that gives you a lot of volume. And then on top of, those creators, you want to have a lot of commission-based creators, which are, they post 1 to 2 videos with your product, usually lower quality, but this gives you a lot of volume. Also, as the founder, you want to be going live yourself. This helps a lot, especially building that community and that cult-like following that you need to build a successful brand. After that, you do want to go ahead and build a content strategy. So either you yourself as a founder, you got to do this research, or pay somebody like me to do it. This is where you go ahead and study, like I just talked about, the best videos in your niche that are winning and getting sales. You need to go ahead and, I say, anywhere between 100 to 300 videos that have over $10,000 in sales. You want to study them just to see exactly how to go viral and understand it in yourself. You need to know what type of marketing angles, hooks, talking points, all of these things that make a video go viral. You need to understand it to a T. So there you have your content strategy. Once your affiliates are getting ready to post and they start posting, you want to go ahead and give them feedback on how to make better videos. So you can do that either by creating a Discord community where you go ahead and inside there you teach them, you get on weekly calls and give them feedback, or you can give them, also you can give them videos to emulate. So a video that went well in the affiliate system, you can go ahead and show that to them so they could go ahead and emulate it and make another winning video that is very likely to go viral. And also you create content briefs that you can share with them as well. So now you have videos plus the content strategy. They're starting to get viral and get a little bit of sales. Now you can go ahead and take GMV ads and just spark that and spark the winning videos. And then you're going to see that it just builds on itself, at compounds. You're going to start getting more reviews. You're going to start getting more sales on your listing, and then just keeps on building. Once you find a really viral video, you see that you're going to become one of the top brands on TikTok Shop. Number 27, how do you manage and scale an affiliate army without losing control? So this is a very good question, because it is true that with affiliates, you're obviously going to have less control than somebody in-house. But it doesn't mean that affiliates are not good, and they are very useful for this reason, because they're so scalable, right? So you can't have 100 in-house employees unless you're a huge company, but you can easily, as a small company, have 100 affiliates making videos for you. Now, it does come with the aspect that you might not have as much control, but the way that you do this is, first off, if you do want to have the most control, you should be using retainer-based creators. I mentioned this before, but a retainer-based creator is a creator that basically makes a dedicated amount of videos every month, like let's say 15 to 30 videos per month, and you do have more control over them than you do for a commission-based creator, because of course, a commission-based creator, they're just getting a free product and commission if they make a sale. So retainer-based creators are going to have more control. And then overall, if you do want to have like creative lead in what they're making, you give them content briefs and make sure they're making that. You're on top of them 24/7. You're right. You're constant communication with them. And then also you give them what they can say and what they can't say. So you just want to be extremely clear in your guidelines and your directions. However, this is not I haven't seen this as a huge problem. Sometimes there is affiliates that go overboard and they promise something that they shouldn't. Like let's say there's a supplement and they say, oh, this can heal your cancer in 30 days, right? This is not true, obviously. So you can't have this going widespread viral within your brand, because there's not going to be overall consequences, but there is going to be maybe a little bit loss of brand and reputation on your end. Even though it was an affiliate who said it, is still going to come and fall back on you. So yeah, overall, just have commission-based creators and then be very strict on what they can say and what they can't say. And you got to train them. What's the best way to dominate a niche on TikTok Shop long term? So long term, assuming you already killed the launch and this is already a few months in, you want to start taking market share in the actual niche, you have to go ahead and start testing new marketing angles. So the key to killing it as a beginner is just emulating what works. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. Now, it's kind of the opposite when it comes to killing it long term in a niche. You want to go ahead and start testing for new marketing angles. Of course, your bread and butter is going to be emulating the other ones that are winning. But in order to stay ahead of the curve, you need to start testing new marketing angles that you don't know if they're going to work. A lot of them are going to fail. But you constantly need to be testing to stay ahead of your competitors. So you need to become a trend within your consumers and TikTok Shop. You want to have basically a cult-like following. And becoming a trend is number one. You need widespread popularity to be able to stay on top of number one of your niche. Of course, you do this with a lot of affiliates with a good content strategy. And overall, just making content that doesn't feel like a brand. Like, for example, Scrub Daddy is killing it on Instagram and TikTok Shop just because they are so user-like, right? They're consumer-like. They're not coming from a corporate place. They're making very user-friendly content. And once Scrub Daddy posts, it looks like from the consumer's point of view, it looks like one of their friends posted. It doesn't look like a multi, 9-figure company posted. That's 28 of the top TikTok Shop questions answered. If you even apply a few of these, you'll be ahead of 99% of the sellers on TikTok Shop. But here's the thing, the top sellers on TikTok Shop are not waiting 6 months to go ahead and figure this out. My agency has helped the brands go from zero to 6-figure months in as little time as a few weeks and months. And right now we have a few open slots to take on clients before the next big TikTok Shop campaign starts. If you want us to set up your shop, recruit affiliates, and run the exact same strategies I covered today, click the link at the top of the description, book a call this week and see if we can go ahead and launch you before that next big campaign starts. Also, if you're not ready, go ahead and watch this video on screen. That should teach you a little bit more about TikTok Shop and get you ready. Thank you for watching. I hope you got a lot of value out of this.